made me do was thanks about these three people.
Yeah.
These are three amazing humans, and we are those Kinship are happy to be celebrating them at our inaugural Masquerade ball. We could not have, when we thought about who should be a transformational Masquerade ball, it was easy.
It's a no-brainer.
It was a no-brainer. It was probably the easiest decision we have ever had to make over the year of making decisions. Like Betty and Ray. And then it was, well, what team has shown up? No-brainer. And so, around applause. We will have the opportunity to hear from them later on in the program, share their pearls of wisdom. I've had being mentored and coached by both of them, currently being mentored by Ray and
all the trainers that you know been mentored by these.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So please enjoy yourself. I was telling the staff tonight that we chose the word kinship. It took us a long time to figure out what would be the name of our center. We chose the word kinship because kinship is a deep, deep belonging. Kinship exceeds biology. Kinship is about love, it's about family, it's about connection and engagement. And so tonight, as we celebrate these three amazing leaders, let's also celebrate the kinship that we have with each other through them, because of them. Because I am God, but you are. Thank you. Some time to speak and say whatever they like to say. Go ahead.
Ray goes first.
Well, you caught me off guard. I was thinking you were going to go first. I always let her go first, but kinship means a lot more than just a name, just a word. It really stands for our interconnectedness. We're all one, we're all universal beings, and it celebrates the world. And I think it's just so apropos right now, based on what's going on around the world. It lets us know that we're not just a country, we're not just a community, we're all global citizens. And everybody's business is our business, and our business is everybody else's business. So you've heard the word, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes kinship for us all to survive. And I just love the name kinship, global kinship, because it really says it all. We're global and we're relatives. One of our great friends, Anita Sanchez, talks often about our four-leggeds, two-leggeds, and no-leggeds. And we're all connected, we're all one. So this is a celebration of our unity globally. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
I don't have much to say. I just want to say thank you to Ms. Tam. She's been more than I could express in words in my life. And I'm so grateful to be here in front of all of you and get to know you and speak with you. And so thank you.
What's your name that you don't know yet?
My name is Tiana McCoy.
And Tiana is our student leader of the year.
And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Betty Squirrel. What can I say? I'm thrilled and honored to be here with you and with our being together to participate. Because community is about participation. And we participate together. When we participate together, something emerges that cannot emerge in our aloneness and our separation. And when I first heard from Aaron and the whole team, it sparked something in my soul that speaks to what transformation is really about. And as I've met some people I haven't seen here in a long time, many years, and in connecting, what's emerging once again is this kinship and the possibilities that only exist for us in our participation can emerge here. It's emerging with you, me, and us together. So I thank you. Let's have a good time. Let's celebrate. And that's all I have to say for right now.
Just one thing I do want to add, because she was very modest. Tayana, we selected her, and you'll hear a little bit more about it. This young lady, her beingness is what created our Teen Charlotte training. It is a thriving training. Every person that is in that training is either a friend of hers or a friend of a friend. And they love her, they respect her, and she is a captain, and she's a master captain. She trains all of our captains in all of the cities that we deliver trainings in. And she's an extraordinary human being. I think she's got wings behind her, like an angel.
And to add to that, when we created Global Kinship, what was important to us is to not separate adults from teens. And when we met Tayana's mom, where are you, Tahira? Tahira, there she goes. Tahira took the adult trainings. And when Tara and I talked about creating Global Kinship, we talked about wanting to create and offer transformation and have transformational households. So there were families who could utilize the tools and the distinctions to create the best version of themselves and to create the best version of their family. And so that Global Kinship is not just about adults. It was about bringing and merging adults and teens and families. And so we have just begun. We now have adult training, we have teen training, but look out, because family trainings are coming, where families can be in together, learning the distinction together, having a strategic life plan, an LOA together, and what they want to generate and create as a family. Kinship, so that ripples out into the rest of the world and the planet. Because there's and no matter what your political persuasion is, and I'm not here to talk about politics, right? But right now, we believe that kinship is needed more now on this planet than any time in our history. And I don't say that lightly or to be oratorically sound. I say it because I believe it in my heart. The country and the world is calling for kinship. And we are the ones they've been waiting for. So let's celebrate our honoree. Have fun.
I just want to do a shout out to Kinship in terms of training centers. Aaron has a training center. We have people from Los Angeles for Life Design Training Center. We have people from Milwaukee Life Camp Training Center. They have been over here. You've been over there. They've been over to LA. So we're all coming together to do exactly what Avon was saying. That respecting kinship amongst us. We're not competitors. We're relatives. That's what we're all do. Why?
have created what you've seen on the screen today. They have fed the hungry. They have given meals to families and did grocery shopping and did some just amazing things, which is what Global Kinship is all about. Global Kinship. And I'm going to be brief because Zach told me that he will play the Oscar music if I go over more than 90 seconds. So I'll come back and tell you a little bit of our results. But Global Kinship is about a deep belonging. I was talking to Zach's friend. Tell me your name, sir. Alex. I was telling Alex, what is this all about? And I said, what it's all about is a belonging. That we are better together than we are apart. We are better together than we are apart. And so that's what our mission is, that's what our vision is. It is to bring people together to increase their own value, what they see in themselves, be the best version of themselves, and then impact their community, the world, the planet. And that's what you can expect from our center and what it is that we're up to. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I am proud to be the president CEO of my co-founder, Tamara Barber. Raise your hand, stand up. And then lastly, I want all of the volunteers and the staff at Global Kinship who make pennies to do all of this and create this. Ace, where you at? Raise your hand. Tara, where you at? So, and Christine, where you at, Christine? Definitely not going to forget. Christine, stand up. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. I think the Oscar music is getting ready to start, so I'm going to make my exit, and I can't wait to see you later.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? Yes. All right. It is my distinct honor tonight to present the Global Kinship Center's Transformational Leadership Award to Dr. Ray Blanchard and Betty Spruill. So for those of you who I've not met yet, I had the blessing and privilege to work with Ray and Betty I've known them for over 20 years. We've worked together for 18 years, developing trainers. So how many of you in here have taken a transformational training at a center somewhere? Woo! Yeah. Every person whose hand up, whether you were directly trained by Ray or Betty or not, you have been impacted by their lives. And I wanted to take a few moments to share with you a snapshot of a beautiful life lived by each of them and lived by both of them together. So I want to take you on a little journey, and I'm going to do it quickly so they don't play the Oscar music for me. So I want you to imagine decades ago, a little girl is growing up in a small town in eastern North Carolina. She grows up on a farm. She grows up in the time period where schools are just starting to be integrated. And Martin Luther King's dreams of little black boys and little black girls holding hands with little white girls and little white boys is starting to take hold. Betty was one of the first people in her community to walk into an all-white school as a young black girl. As you can imagine, she was not always greeted with open arms, to say the least. Very similar, unfortunately, to the world we're living in today. But Betty kept moving. She stayed there. She grew up in a family where she was taught the value of strength and dignity. She tells the story of her mother, Miss Annie Spruill, her late mother, being in the grocery store where a butcher was trying to shortchange her and she was not having it. And Betty learned that strength, that dignity, Now, what she did with that at the time, in the world she was living in, is she fueled all that stand for dignity to become a Black Panther. I don't know if you all know this. I'm telling Betty's secrets. Her sister told me it was okay. So Betty became a Black Panther. And then, over the course of her life and as she grew in wisdom, she started to realize that there was another way to be. A Course in Miracles talks about when we come to realize the oneness, the unity that we all hold together, we start to turn our arrows into flowers. And Betty turned her arrows into flowers when she realized the all-encompassing power of love. And that is the life she has been walking since being a young woman. She had the courage to choose love in a time where love did not always embrace her back. Parallel, I'm on TV. Parallel to this, at a similar time, a few hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, a little boy was growing up who also grew up in the rural area on the other side of the tracks, as he tells it, in St. Louis. You know, at the time, little Ray had a strong, tight-knit family and an intimate community. But as he tells the story in so many of his trainings, he didn't always know quite the ways of the world. He lived in a lot of isolation. But he knew that there was something greater for himself and his family. And so, meeting with many times misunderstanding, he charted out a path to lead the way of connection for his family and for others in his community. He was the first among his group of many, many siblings and family to go to college, where he earned the prestigious Stanford Fellowship and learned about living a life of honor and nobility. He became a professor for a time, had a nice, comfortable job, and then got the call to something greater, to become a trainer of transformational work. When I tell you all, he literally left everything, I'm not joking, with nothing more than a suitcase. He said yes to an opportunity he didn't even know what was going to unfold. And he chose a life of being the greatest servant that he knew how to be doing this work. When that choice was made, and as Betty was walking her path at some point, again, they're both young, their lives intertwined. Word on the street says somebody told Miss Betty she needed to meet that cute Dr. Ray Blanchard. And I hear she was a bit smitten when she did. And what they realized as their friendship deepened over many, many years, they fondly refer to themselves as spiritual husband and spiritual wife. And as husbands and wives do, you know, that they create children, but Betty's and Ray's children, Betty and Ray gave birth to a spiritual body of children around the world. Because as their lives have intersected, they gave themselves over to something greater than themselves. And out of that space, so many of us, myself included, learn to come home to ourselves. Learn to remember who we are and know ourselves as we were always created to be, instruments of love. So when I think about Betty walking her path and Ray walking his path, what resonates so deeply to me about both of them, individually together, Ray and Betty, if I boil out all the essence of what you've been for all of us, so many of us in this room, you have left a legacy of what it means to have the courage to love. When accepting the Chapman Award for years and lifetime of service, Viola Davis made this comment. She said, "The will to extend oneself to nurture one's own and another's spiritual growth, that is the definition of love." Ray and Betty, your life can be summed up in one word: love. You teach us how to love no matter what comes in front of us. You teach us that love is who we were created to be and what we were created to extend. This is a legacy that is written on our hearts and will extend into eternity. So I am honored again to present you both with Global Kinship's inaugural Transformational Leadership Lifetime Award. Please come to the stage. Please come to the stage. And I'm going to call Tamara up here to support leaders. Amen.
I have a little something to say. I did. I made some notes because it's important. And those of you who know me know that. Those of you who know me know that I spent a long time in language and understanding the phenomenon that language is and how language creates as we create language. And that our lives are the stories that we tell. And then what we do here in Transformation is that we're not addicted to the stories that we tell. At the same time, we're looking at stories that we will invent in the future, which is what we're always doing. And as we invent those stories, those narratives, we bring forth worlds. And as we bring forth those worlds, we start to identify it as that story, and then something happens, and we let that story go. And then we invent new stories. So part of what it is to be a human being is that we are the creators of our lives. And as we create our lives over and over again, we forget. And we're in a period right now of deep forgetting. But this always happens. We wake up and we remember, and then we fall asleep. It's been happening for thousands of years, as my dear sister, I say to her all the time, I say, Joyce, this happens. It's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. So we fall asleep and we wake up. We fall asleep and we wake up. And I want to say to my beautiful and wonderful sister who's here, Joyce Christie. Thank you so much. This honor is yours as much as it is mine. Because we don't do anything. We do nothing on this planet alone. Nothing. And so my excitement about what you offer here is kinship, interdependency, interconnectedness. And I will say to all of you too, don't be afraid of anything that's happening right now. Fear breeds resignation, and you give up your agency. I'm not saying don't be afraid, but just know that there's something about you that's greater than any fear that can show up in your life. And if you can only live your life in fear, why be alive? It's not what we're here. We're here to generate and to create. And Amber, Aaron, the whole team here, Lord, I thank you. And thank you for the many nights, and I know there have been many, that you give yourselves over to your mission, to your passion, to what you're about. And it's the way that the universe does. Okay. Some people call it God. Some people call it Spirit. But whatever it is, it lets us know that there's something greater than being my ego itself that's running this whole show. And when I can sit in that and sit in it and let it move through me as I move through it, the world becomes a beautiful place that we can all share. So thank you. You're telling me, right on. I talk too much. As Donnell said, and thank you, Donnell, for your beautiful words. Thank you. I've known Donnell for a long time. And as I look out in the audience, I see other people who I've known for a long time, and my heart is so full with the possibilities that you, that I, and we together, it can only happen when our togetherness, that we're shaping this world to be. So I thank you. I'm honored, and I'm reminded that our lives are woven together. Our lives are woven together. So we have a future for our children, our grandchildren. And I've met some people here, now that they have children, and we talk about their children. Closer? There you go. And so, if it's not in your own heart to have some sleepless nights for yourself, look at the children and let them awaken in you what's always been there. So I love you, I thank you, and I'll see some of you again. Tamara and I have been talking about it, and we will. I promise you. I'm not being Martin Luther King here. I'm not being anything other than Betty's book, but I promise you, there are brighter days ahead for all people on this planet. And it will occur because of you, because of me, and because of the promise that we are to humanity and to this planet.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. I didn't prepare a speech, and I did that on purpose because I've learned in training trainers, and I learned from my family and my church that when you put down the script, then you got to show up. And when you show up, that's what the audience really connects to. So I just wanted to connect with you. First of all, I want to acknowledge Aaron and Tamara for putting this wonderful event on. It is spectacular, is it not? I want to acknowledge all of the workers and all the people behind the scenes that made it possible to do this. Because I know from putting on events, it's not easy. There are a lot of moving parts. So I want to acknowledge all of you for that. I want to acknowledge Donnell for putting that wonderful speech together about Betty and me and our life story. Donnell, you care. And you've cared about Betty and me for many years. So a lot of folk it's because of you as well. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the impact that you made in my life.
Sorry, I got to talk closer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let me just, do you mind if I just take the mic?
Yeah, of course.
I want to just thank you for the impact you made in my life and my career. It's been an incredible journey. And my passion is for you to have the most incredible journey of your life. It has only just begun every day. Do I need to swallow it? I have a really strong I got it. You know, there's a lot that I could say, but I won't say a lot. I will say a few things Donnell said about our St. Louis growing up. But before St. Louis, I grew up in a little country town. It wasn't even a town. There had one stop sign. We picked cotton. We didn't have running water. We had outhouses. My family, my mom and dad, and 12 kids. We were land rich and money poor. That meant that we worked hard and we didn't have much money. But one of the things we did have is we had family. We had kinship. We had belonging. We had community. And those are the values that live with me every day. And this little flower is a dedication to my mom. Because she had such grace. She endured such hardship, but she never gave up. And she would always persist. And she would often say, if you're skating on thin ice, you might as well dance. And I take that to heart today. And as I go through my life, I've had many hardships, many breakdowns. But what sustains me is my care and the fact that I know that so many people care and all of the things that are going on in our lives, as Betty mentioned, pale by comparison to who we really are. And the things that stand out for me is one is know who you are. My mom always taught, know who you really are. When all is said and done, know who you are. And connect with other people and love your community and let your community love you. So I just want to thank you for being my community. You are my family. I can't define myself outside of who you are and what you mean to me. I was telling Michael earlier, when COVID happened and life changed for us, I was on the road all the time, but then I was home. And I didn't know how to redefine myself. I didn't know how to be who I was accustomed to being. So the thought, redefine myself, know who I am at the core, and connect with people and be community. And I leave that with you. And thank you for being an incredible community. Kinship is no accident. So let's do this together. We're stronger together. And always remember, you can be a superstar. You can have incredible champions, but you won't be a championship team. Championship teams requires people to sacrifice. Championship teams require that you have something greater than yourself that you're living for and that you're willing to sacrifice for. So keep sacrificing and keep being superstars. Thank you, and thank you for this award.
All right, one more hand for Betty and Ray, please.
Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce, this is with permission, the most badass bitch in the room. I can say you can. Tamara did the adult training years ago, and during her training, she was challenged to come up with something incredible to find some purpose and passion in her life and do something for others. And she had this idea that she's going to do this training, reinvent this training for the youth, for children, for teenagers. And she took this idea and she made it happen to like the 10th degree. And then just recently took a leap of faith to take extreme team leaders, which is her baby, and join forces with Aaron to form Global Kinship Center that now offers trainings to families, to youth, teens, and adults. Ladies and gentlemen, Tamara Barber.
When I first did this training, I came in with an idea to create a leadership program for teens. I didn't know what it was going to look like. And as I went through each level, the first thing I said was, where the heck has this been all my life? And why am I 42 years old just finding out about it? And then I had that epiphany. I'm a mom of 5. I've raised them. They all stayed out of jail. They all did something worth bragging about as a mom. So I'm blessed in that aspect, and I realized that I did something right. I just didn't know what. I didn't know what the playbook was. And I started doing these trainings, and it dawned on me that this is the missing link. I wanted not only my kids to get how much they matter in this world, get their magnificence, but I wanted all teens, because I was the cool mom, because I never let my kids go out to other people's houses. So my kids brought their friends to our house, so I was the cool mom. And as I watched these teenagers come through my house, I would notice what was missing. I would notice some of the challenges that they were facing that my kids weren't facing. And so I decided that I was going to create something. The first thing I created was a basketball team. When I first created Extreme Team Leaders, I started in my church. And my pastor was like, oh, I love this idea of Extreme Team Leaders. Start it here, and then when you're ready to go create a nonprofit, go do that. So I did it. I started with the basketball team. And what I was doing was I was teaching those skills to young men. Now, most of them were young black boys. And I don't know if you know this in this world, but our young black boys have a challenging time in this world. And as a mom of 2 black boys, I wanted them to have everything that they needed to succeed. And I extended that to all of the young men that played on our AAU basketball team. And what would happen is, when our team was playing the other team, the parents from the other team would come to our bench and say, you've got such incredible, thoughtful young men playing on your team. I said, thank you. And then all of a sudden, their sons were sitting with our team, and then the following year, they were playing with us. And so AAU got a little hectic, and I decided, you know what? Let me just focus on the leadership piece, because that was really why I did it. But I just knew that basketball was something that I could use, a tool that would get their interest so that I could pour into them. And then about that time, I started going through the trainings, and I decided this was it. And so I totally shifted and focused in on Extreme Team Leaders. And many of the people sitting in this room, this Haber, was the wind underneath my wings, the yes you can, saying you can do this, keep going, and some golden words. Thank you. And I did a training, and before you knew it, we had impacted hundreds of teens' lives. And one weekend in North Carolina, twins showed up. 2 sets of twins showed up in the training room. Now, I'm a mom of twin girls, so when I see twins, I'm like, yes! And one of those twins was Tiana McCoy. And when she showed up, you know what it looks like when a light walks into the room? It just sparkles everywhere and just lights up. I could see her little wings flapping. And she showed up. Don't cry because you're making me cry. And she did the training. She was about 12 years old when she did the training. Every now and then I let some 12-year-olds in. And her and her brother Tyree were one of those 12-year-olds. And she did the training. She did 2 trainings, but she didn't do the 3rd level. And she came back years later, about 4 years later, 3 or 4 years later, she wanted to come back and do it again. And this time, not only did she do the whole training, but she set out to create the training in her city. She was traveling from Charlotte to Raleigh to do her journey. And she wanted to create it in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we did. Or should I say, and so she did. She invited all of her friends and all of her friends' friends. Now, if you don't know Tiana, she's the kind of person that when she invites you to the training, you just look at her and you're like, yeah, because of who she is. And I want to read to you an acknowledgement that was sent to me from someone whose life she impacted. People always ask me, how did the training go? Ask someone that was in it. I don't know. So I want to know about Tiana. This is what, and this young man, when he came into the training, he did not speak. He was one of the young men in the background. And this is what he wrote. There are moments in every community when someone's presence, passion, and purpose creates a lasting impact and are the very definition of a moment. Your leadership has been more than just guidance. It's been a reflection of love, vision, and unwavering commitment to everyone around you. You have not led through demand, but through example, inspiring others to rise, to believe, and to build. Every initiative you've touched, every word you've spoken, and every challenge you've faced has carried the imprint of your heart and integrity. You've shown what it means to lead with grace and to lead with intention. Your vision has brought people together. Your consistency has built trust. Your compassion has created belonging. Your love has created community. Through it all, you've proven that leadership isn't about position, it's about presence. You have shown us how powerful it is to be both strong and kind while being visionary and grounded. Today, we simply want to give you your flowers to recognize the excellence that is already seen in you. Every effort you've made has been noticed, every sacrifice appreciated, and every word you've shared carefully considered and deeply valued. You're in many ways a living reflection of what true leadership and love looks like. Thank you for being the example others can look to, the voice others can count on, and the light others can follow. You not only have made an impact, you've created a legacy. North Carolina Charlotte, Cassius Young. In celebration of Tiana, Student Leader of the Year. Now, this young man, right now, is captaining for the first time because of you. So tonight, I was looking up on you, and accept this award for Student of the Year. I love you. You are my angel. And I'm so proud of you.
Okay, I wrote something. Thank you, Steve. There are certain moments in everyone's life that are pivotal and necessary for the molding and creation of who that person is going to be. I'm a firm believer that God intentionally and perfectly maps out these moments exactly the way they're meant to happen. One of those moments for me was joining Extreme Team Leaders. I'm a true testament of what the transformational work that is done through Extreme Team Leaders looks like. Before being introduced to Extreme Team Leaders, I was ashamed and afraid of the power that I had inside me, and I felt that I wasn't worthy or equipped to be a powerful young woman in this world. Many things happened to me in my life and made me feel as if I couldn't make it or even be here. And throughout, even outside of me, with my family, there were just many things that had happened, and it felt like the odds were stacked against me. But through Extreme Team Leaders, I learned that I'm worthy and that I'm able to push through, and that it's okay for me to step into my power. Being able to stand in front of you today is nothing short of the blessing and the divine working of the building of my life, and one of those pivotal moments for me to become who I'm supposed to be. And because I know that this is true, I can confidently say that I'm going to choose to leave an impact in this world. I'm choosing to create a world that is peaceful, honest, loving, and unified. So thank you, Ms. Kim, for being so amazing and creating Extreme Team Leaders. Without it, I don't know where I would be. I say it to her all the time. I'm so grateful, and thank you, Mommy, for just being so amazing. And without me, I wasn't doing this work. I know I wouldn't be who I am today. So thank you.
Come on up here with her.
Thank you for trusting me with your amazing children. This is our parent liaison for Charlotte, and she is always supporting, and she is the cool mom for all the kids. So thank you. This is for you and for you, Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.